Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. You're definitely in for a treat. Today's presentation is doing business with the utility as a diverse supplier, and more specifically, doing business with SDG&E. You will hear from SDG&E supplier diversity team, as well as a seasoned diverse supplier to share insights about how to best leverage your certification. For those of you that are new to us, Founders First CDC is the largest national platform for growing businesses led by diverse founders. We offer strategic expansion programs, coaching, grants, and resources like today's webinar to help you grow to 10 million and beyond. We have been around since 2015, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit, which means we happily accept donations. A couple of housekeeping items for today. This webinar is being recorded, so if for some reason you lose connection, not to worry, you will be sent the recording. Our presenters will be answering questions at the end of the session, and you can use the Q&A feature to answer questions throughout today's session. And if for some reason you do lose connection, you can just rejoin using the link provided. And to introduce our speakers, today we will be hearing from Daniel Castillo. He is the Supplier Diversity Manager at SDG&E. He is a supply chain and procurement professional with over 25 years of experience in world-class organizations. He is a resident expert in all things utilities, having been at SDG&E for almost 11 years now. Also joining us will be LaShondra Mercurius. She is the president and co-founder of JLM Strategic Talent Partners, which specializes in providing talent to the construction, infrastructure, and transportation industries. She is a certified supplier and has leveraged multiple certifications to grow her business. And she is also a Founders First, Fast Path, and Bootcamp program grad. We are happy to have you both with us today. Danielle, you can take it away.
Thank you very much, Janine. Good morning to everyone. I want to thank Founders First and Janine for this opportunity to speak to everyone here this morning about how to do business with SDG&E, potential opportunities, and talk to you a little bit about our supplier diversity program. So if we can put up the slides, please, we can go ahead and kick things off. There we go. If we can flip to the previous one, please. There we go. Yeah, just again, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Daniel Castillo. I'm the Supply Diversity Manager for SDG&E. I want to briefly introduce my team as well that's here today. We have Newt Tran, who is one of our project managers for Supply Diversity. Meredith Garcia, who's another one of our project managers, and Tamel Montgomery, who is our project advisor, providing support for our supplier diversity program. And next slide, please. And the topics that we'll be covering today is a reflection of why supplier diversity matters, right? The importance of a supplier diversity program, the benefits that it has. We'll also be going through some of the highlights and goals that the SDG&E has. We'll talk a little bit about our purchase categories and spend and our areas of opportunity. And then we'll close out with how we collaborate with the different business units and stakeholders and the support that we provide to diverse businesses. So a reflection of why supplier diversity matters. So this is something that's really important to our company. We've been doing we've had our program in place for over 30 years, right? So over 3 decades of supplier diversity. And it's something that we're really proud of. For us as a utility, we are regulated by the CPUC, but our program goes beyond that. It goes beyond the regulatory aspect. It's part of our DNA, our core values, and it's something that's, you know, from the top down, right? All the way from our executives. It's something that's really important to our companies. And it's also, a great way to uplift communities and help build generational wealth for those communities and suppliers that have been historically overlooked, and a great way to combat social injustice. And a figure that I'm really proud to share is that over the last decade, SDG&E has spent an excess of $6 billion with our diverse suppliers. And in addition to all the socioeconomic, benefits and impacts that a diverse supply chain provides, or a procurement strategy, it also promotes competition, right? And when you have competition, that can help, drive down costs and enhance the quality of the product and or the service. So there's a lot of benefits, not only to our society and to our diverse suppliers, but to companies as well, right? If you have a robust and diverse supply chain, just like a robust and diverse workforce, it brings many, many benefits. Next slide, please. And again, as I mentioned, we are an investor-owned utility, so we are regulated by the CPUC, just like other investor-owned utilities, PG&E, Edison, and so forth. So there is a general order. It's referred to GO 156. Some of you might be familiar with it. So this was adopted by the CPUC back in 1988 to increase the participation of diverse businesses in opportunities with utilities for contracts and to do business with us. And this general order essentially sets the guidelines and the requirements of the program. So every utility is required to have a supplier diversity department to run the program and provide the reporting to the commission on an annual basis and help grow the opportunities with diverse businesses. Now, the CPUC has 6 categories that they define as diverse businesses. The first one is minority business enterprises, which is comprised of Hispanic American, African American, Asian Pacific American, and Native American. The second category is women business enterprises. We also have disabled veteran business enterprises, LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and or transgender business enterprises. And the new category that was implemented for this year, for 2023, is persons with disability. And we also have the Small Business Administration, SB 8A. So all of these 6 categories qualify for our program. The qualifications is that the company has to be 51% owned and operated by a person or persons in any one of these 6 categories. And for our program, for the utilities, for the CPUC's program, you have to be certified or verified through the Supplier Clearinghouse. This is a third-party provider that provides the verification, and it's completely free for businesses. You don't have to pay anything. This is something that all of the utilities pay for directly, so it's of no cost to the businesses. And the one carve out or caveat for disabled veteran business enterprises is that you do have to reside in California. You have to be domiciled in California. All of the other categories, you can reside anywhere. It's a nationwide program. Here are some of the highlights from last year, and I'll talk a little bit about our goals for this year as well. So in 2022, SDG&E spent $2.4 billion, right? We infused $2.4 billion into the economy by procuring goods and services, and nearly 40%, or nearly $1 billion of that, was spent with diverse suppliers. And out of that, almost half was local within our service territory, within the county of San Diego. So again, something that we're really proud of is that investment in our communities through our program. Over here to the right, we have the CPUC goals that they've established for 2023. You can see the 6 categories that add up to the 22.5%. That's the goal that the commission has for all utilities. And you can see the breakdown there. SDG&E, as I mentioned, right, this is something that's part of our DNA. So we internally set a goal of 40%, right? We want to reach 40% of all of our expenditures in goods and services with diverse suppliers. And we're also really proud to say that we've exceeded the CPUC goal for 18 consecutive years. Next slide, please. Some of the categories of spend that we have, obviously being a utility, there's a lot of opportunity in electric operations and gas operations and construction, IT, professional services and fleet. But one of the big, misnomers is a lot of companies might, be a little bit hesitant, right, to reach out because maybe you're not in the construction business. But again, we are a large corporation and we procure everything from office supplies, janitorial services, catering, all the way up to major construction, right? And everything in between. So just because you might not be as a business in the construction or utility industry, there are plenty of opportunities that our company has because our services that we procure to run our company run the gamut. Specifically, two of the areas that we're always looking to grow that have been challenging historically to find diverse suppliers is in the IT space, software primarily, and energy storage as we strive to have a cleaner source of energy for San Diego. Next slide, please. And lastly, collaboration and support. These are just some of the activities that we do. The event, obviously, that we're having this morning is another way where we do outreach and education on our program. We also partner with community-based organizations, the different chambers, the ethnic chambers, our Council for Supplier Diversity, and they put together technical assistance programs. They put together curriculum to help, small diverse businesses build their financial acumen, help them with their workforce management. And so we partner up and then we bring our new or existing diverse suppliers to participate in that curriculum and in those courses to help them succeed. We also have networking opportunities. We host a series of what we call symposiums. So we bring all the decision makers, the stakeholders internally, the business units, right, that make the sourcing decisions. And we also bring in our diverse suppliers and our prime suppliers, right, our main suppliers and our diverse businesses together to present, to get to know each other, to build those relationships. And then we do a speed dating format where they go around and meet with every single business unit and every prime supplier to find subcontracting opportunities through these events. So what I would recommend is, reach out to us, go onto our website, look at different opportunities that we have, do your research, when you're looking to, solicit or reach out to the utilities to understand where your business might fit in with our needs. And I think that's it. With that, I'll turn it back over to Janine.
Great, thank you for that, Daniel. We really appreciate your insights on being certified and all the benefits and how to do business with SDG&E. We're now going to switch over to LaShondra Mercurius of JLM Talent Partners. Take it away, LaShondra.
Oh, thank you, Janine. So nice to be here. And I'm excited to be in front of all of the businesses that are looking to get certified and do business with SDG&E. I don't know if I got that acronym right, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I can't see everybody, but I can feel the energy because I want to say that this particular certification was the very first certification that I got 12 years ago when I started my business. And since then, I have the MBE, the WBE, and also the 8A, which is also a very powerful certification. Now, the thing that I want to tell you guys, certifications don't mean anything unless you put the work and effort behind those certifications. Your efforts is what give those certifications meaning. And I say this because I've been able to leverage a lot of certifications. I have over 35 certifications throughout the nation with different organizations. So you have the CUCP, the CPUC, there's so many different ones that you can leverage depending on your business and where you are. But for this particular certification, I was able to secure my very first contract with the utility. We actually supported a power plant, and we were able to facilitate their on-the-job training program. So we were able to staff people there. And I have to tell you, because we had that certification, we were able to actually go directly to the owners of the project and say, hey, we have this certification, we want to do this work, how do we leverage ourselves? And there's people there that specifically are designed to tell you how to do it. They're there to specifically say, okay, based on your business, this is who you need to talk to. This is who you need to contact. Here's the information that they're going to be looking for. So it's really up to you to make sure that you're having those conversations, you're building those relationships. Because at the end of the day, whether you have a certification or not, people want to work with people that they know and that they understand and that they like, that they have a relationship with, that they can refer you to other people. They can say, hey, I know this company does a good job. Not only do they have the certification, but they took the time to build the relationship. So I think that's really the thing that's important. In addition to that, get as many certifications as possible, because once you get the first certification, you can get what's called reciprocals in other states where they streamline the process for you. So once you have one, you have the ability to get as many as you want to be able to work in any areas that you want to work in. So if you're looking to expand your business, outside of, California, there's a way to do that where you save, time and effort. I happen to be the certification queen, because I can whip those suckers out in 10 minutes if I have to, because I have everything, set and ready to go. But, like I said, I built, my business, leveraging all of these certifications. I want to say every single project that I'm on today has been leveraged by either a DBE certification, an MBE certification. I was able to get a sole source contract with my 8A certification. And I don't know how many of you guys know about that, but that's a powerful certification for those companies that qualify for an 8A. Now, I tell you this, it is a limited program. It's only 9 years. So do your research before you get certified, because you want to be able to utilize all 9 years. And that's actually a mistake that I made. I was so excited to get the certification. I didn't understand how to leverage myself and market myself, because I got it really early on in my business. I think I was maybe 3 years in my business before I got it. And it took me a few years to get a contract. But the beauty of that particular certification is they have what's called sole source contracts, which all of you are going to love that. You know why? Because you know what that means? I don't have to compete with anybody. The contract is designed specifically for me and my business. I was able to secure my first sole source contract with the Air Force, $1 million a year contract for 5 years with a 5-year renewal option. I didn't have to compete with anybody. All I had to do was build a relationship and make sure that I marketed my business. I researched, I understood who the stakeholders were, who were the ones that are signing the check. That's who you need to talk to. And sometimes it takes 1 call, 2 call, 3 calls. You typically don't get a yes until after about 8 no's. So I'm just sort of setting the expectation. Just because you have a certification, just because you sent an email, or just because you picked up the phone doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. You have to understand the cycle, when certain contracts cycle in and when certain contracts cycle out, because that's how you want to start leveraging. When you know something's coming up, then you want to position yourself to be able to capture that. And you do that by making sure that you register in the databases, because if you do that, all the information comes to you. You don't have to search for it. It all comes to you. So there's so many different tools and techniques that you can use. And again, they have people there to help you figure it out for yourself. You don't have to do it alone. So I would say that, I was able to become, a multi-million-dollar business, based on these certifications. And I think everybody here has the potential to do that, because, government and pseudo-government agencies have to spend money with diverse businesses. I mean, Daniel just gave you an amazing rundown of how it works. These goals are going up and up every single year. And so that's really just an opportunity for all of us to make sure that, we get a seat at the table, that we get a share in all these billions of dollars, because the small businesses are the lifeblood of our economy. But it's up to us to make sure that we position ourselves properly, that we are not afraid, that we'll go after the contracts that we feel that we can perform, and we continue to build those relationships, because that's what it's about. And once you get in a groove, it becomes easy, and then you know what to do. So I look forward to all of your questions. Please don't hold back, because I want to give you all the information and all the knowledge that I have. Because like I said, this is a powerful, powerful way to grow your business. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, LaShondra. We really appreciate your insights as well. And we do have a lot of questions that have come in. This first question, Daniel, are you giving out state businesses an equal opportunity to earn your business? So we had a couple of these. We've got some folks doing business in Houston, and they're just wondering, does SDG&E do business with organizations outside of California?
Yes, we do. Our program is open, as I mentioned, to every business in the country. The only carve out is if you are a service disabled veteran that's certified for our program, you have to be domiciled in California. But outside of that, the other 5 categories, it's nationwide. So we do business outside of California.
Fantastic. I've got one more for you. Do you have to have a background in utilities to establish a supplier business partnership with SDG&E?
No, you don't, not necessarily. As I mentioned, as a utility, the biggest opportunity is in the electric or gas construction, obviously, but we are a very large company. As I mentioned, we spent $2.4 billion. So we buy a lot of office supplies, we have catering services, we have janitorial services, to service our different facilities that we have, our different campuses. So the opportunities run the gamut, right? Is everything in between office supplies and major construction.
That's great, because we actually did get a number of specific questions around specific services. So that's great. LaShondra, I have a question for you here. What is the best way that you have found to build the relationships with key personnel in the large organizations?
Pick up the phone and call, and keep calling, and email again, and call again, until you get the person on the line. Because when you do get them on the line, that is your opportunity to let them know why it was their treat to pick up the phone to talk to you, because you're going to tell them how you're going to make their lives better and easier, because they're going to do business with you. And honestly, it's confidence. It's knowing your business, knowing your value, and being able to show that, and how you show up and how you communicate about your business and your successes and how you're going to add value. Because at the end of the day, they're a business and they want to make sure that they get a return on their investment, and if they're willing to invest in you, then you got to show up and show out. That's how it works. The results is in the work.
We have another question for you, LaShondra. Of all of your certifications, how did you decide which ones to get first and why?
Well, for me, I started doing this about 12 years ago. So I kind of started out just like everyone on this call. I got invited to, an event that shared with me information. I got this particular one first because this was the first one I was exposed to. But once I opened the door to the certification world and I begin to ask questions, and build more relationships, I got referred and told about other certifications that worked for my business. So it just kind of just became just a journey of certification. So it was really cool. But then you also have to make sure that you get on to like the SBA website, the Small Business Administration website, because a lot of the certifications do follow federal guidelines, right? And so there's a lot of initiatives based on, you know, who's in the presidency. So a lot of this stuff is actually political. So it's very good that you understand the policies that are being rolled out in your different states and areas, because that's going to determine which certification is right for you. For example, in New York City, the WMBE is queen out there. They have over $3 billion that they want to spend specifically with women, minority-owned businesses. So you know what I did? I hightailed it right over there to New York and got that certification. And because of that certification, this year, I was able to sign a contract with the New York MTA for over a $700,000 contract because of that certification. And guess what? They found me. I didn't even have to work hard, because once I got that certification, I was in the database. I started making my rounds, building my relationships. When an opportunity came out, they knew who I was and they reached out. That's how you work it. And each state is different. Sometimes the WMBE is king. Sometimes the DBE is what you need, because if it's federal work, the DBE will trump the MBE and the WMBE. And 8.8, if you want to do business with the government, that is the way to go, especially with the Army, Navy. They have a huge spend, and they spend a lot. And as a matter of fact, they're searching for 8A certified businesses because they don't have enough, and their goals are very high, and their contracts are very long, and they're very lucrative.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Daniel, how often are companies allowed to bid, and is there any seasonality to the bidding process?
Yeah, that's a great question. There is at times, right? We obviously, as an electric utility, with the larger, more complicated scopes or more of higher risk, we go out to bid, and typically we would issue agreements that are 3 to 5 year agreements, right? So once those are bid out and awarded, right, the next cycle could be 3 to 5 years. But there's always opportunities maybe for smaller scopes, right, where we're looking for a service that might be a 1-year contract, and then something can come up in a year, or even in those long-term contracts, right? Let's say we have 3 providers. Something happens in the marketplace with one of them, some things fall through or they're not performing, then our supply chain folks, right, would go out and look for other suppliers to fill that gap or that fall through, if you will. So I guess, to answer that, it varies. There is some, it's cyclical. It could be anywhere 3 to 5 years. But again, there's multiple agreements, multiple categories, so they're staggered, right? Something that's going to take 5 years because it was just awarded, you might have something from 5 years ago that's actually in competition right now, so it's staggered. So there's always opportunities, and I agree with Lashandra. Just you keep in touch, right? Check in with us so you can be top of mind. Be prepared to do your homework, right, on what are the services that we require and how your business fits in.
So we've got a couple more minutes. We've got a couple more questions. One more question for you, Daniel, which is, can you talk a little bit about winning contracts for beginners? Kind of what % of the suppliers are new suppliers versus existing?
Yeah, so we do have new suppliers that we're onboarding every time. I would say one of the most practical ways and easier ways to get in to do business with SDG&E is through subcontracting, right? Partner with a large supplier that's already doing business with us and become a subcontractor to them, right? Reach out to our team, we can make those introductions, and you can start that way. We have many success stories with small companies that started that way, right? Doing some maybe lower risk, more basic scopes of work to a larger company that was doing business with us. And then through the years, through mentorship, a lot of these large companies will take you under their wing, mentor you, and then eventually you become a direct or prime supplier yourself. So that would be my recommendation, is go the subcontracting route.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you for that. And then I have one more for Lashandra. Lashandra, how long did it take you to get certified?
Well, boy, I don't have short-term memory anymore, so you're making me really think here. Well, some of the certifications are easier than others. For the supplier clearinghouse, it was fairly easy. I mean, if you follow the instructions and make sure that you submit all of the items that they request in a timely manner, it's maybe a month or two for them to go through everything and come back with any questions. Now, some other certifications can be longer. I know the 8A can take up to a year because of all the backlog. New York WMBE was pretty lengthy, but it really just depends on how organized your paperwork is, and if you're communicating with the rep that's sort of handling your file. So making sure that you follow up and do all that stuff. But it doesn't take too long. Supplier diversity house, supplier, well, you know what it is. I can't get it out today. Supplier clearinghouse is pretty efficient. So if you submit your information and get the process started, it'll move fairly quickly.
Fantastic. I do want to just squeeze in this one final question, since both of you touched on the importance of relationships. And Daniel, you said that you at San Diego Gas and Electric, you have symposiums and meet and greets. Do companies have to be suppliers to be invited to those, or can non-certified organizations find out about those and attend those?
Yeah, we do, as I mentioned, have a mix of diverse suppliers and non-diverse, our large prime companies, to build those partnerships for subcontracting opportunities. So there is an opportunity for non-diverse suppliers. What we would do, my team, obviously we focus on our supply diversity program and work with our diverse suppliers. And so any interest we would, funnel through our supply management team that deals with all suppliers in general. So there's always, opportunities.
Great.
So I make that question really quick.
Please.
Something I wanted to mention with some of the certifications for the partnership, you can partner with a non-certified partner, as long as, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, as long as the prime is certified and it has more than 50% of the work, they can partner with different subs to help them execute. So I know that there are partnership agreements, especially if you're partnering with a larger company, for example, that may already been working, but if they're not certified, then they can almost be like a sub to you, and you can prime different work. So there's different rules with that, but that is an option.
Yeah, absolutely. For our program, we have a lot of our diverse suppliers, because not all of them are small businesses. Some of them are fairly large, really successful diverse businesses, and they subcontract as well. They pay it forward to other diverse businesses, but perhaps other maybe that are not certified, right? But you're exactly right, Lashandra. The diverse companies a lot of times are the primes, and then they'll sub to others.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. I know we've gone over just a little bit. I'd like to remind everyone that we will have the recording available and sent out later today. We also have some additional resources that we will be sharing with you all. I want to thank our two speakers, Daniel Casilla of San Diego Gas and Electric, and Lashandra Mercurius of JLM Talent Partners. And if you are interested in any of our upcoming webinars and resources, those can be found at foundersfirstcdc.org. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.